The first thing I heard was Logan Bennett thinking about kissing me. The second thing I heard was the bell above our heads, striking midnight, hard enough to shake dust from the rafters. The third thing was Dean Sloane pounding on the locked oak door. "Elliot Hayes," she called from the other side, her voice carrying through the narrow stone stairwell. "Open this door now." Excellent. Nothing, says Happy Founders Night, like being cornered in a bell tower by the dean of your college, while two alpha heirs stare at you as if you are the last warm thing left in winter. Outside the lancet windows, snow moved over Sleepy Hollow in silver sheets. Far below us, St. Aldwyn College glowed with candle-colored electric lights. Its Gothic towers and black slate roofs looked less like a modern American college, and more like someone had stolen a monastery from medieval France, packed it into shipping containers, and reassembled it beside the Hudson River. The Founders' Masquerade was still going on in the Great Hall. I could hear the muffled pulse of the orchestra beneath the bells. I could also hear Blake Carter's thoughts. If Bennett moves 1 inch closer, I am throwing his stupid velvet mask into the Hudson. Blake stood on my right, blonde hair disordered from our sprint, up 6 flights of stairs, his black formal jacket open at the throat. At 23, he was an alpha, the heir to Carter Media Group, and the kind of man who could turn standing still into a sporting event. Half the campus loved him. The other half was waiting for him to smile at them so they could begin. Logan stood on my left. Logan Bennett, 24 Alpha, acting CEO of Bennett Development Group, while finishing St. Aldwyn's Elite Vanguard Leadership Fellowship. He wore midnight black tails with the calm of a man who had been born expecting portraits to be painted of him. Dark hair, gray eyes, straight posture, the face of an angel who had read the terms and conditions. His thoughts were less angelic. "He's freezing. I should put my coat around him. No, ask first. He hates being crowded when he is anxious. Ask first, you possessive idiot." My heart made a small, traitorous movement. 6 weeks ago, Logan's private thoughts would have sent me climbing out the nearest window. Tonight, they were somehow the safest sound in the room. The dean knocked again. Below us, phones buzzed across the ballroom. I knew what everyone was reading. Black Bell Exush, Omega Schaller Student, Elliot Hayes leaked confidential donor records to manipulate the Vanguard vote. There were screenshots. There were timestamps. There was a beautifully organized set of lies. And because the universe has always enjoyed production value, the anonymous account had posted them during the biggest event of the year. Blake's jaw tightened. "I can destroy this rumor in 20 minutes. Logan's expression did not change. "I can destroy it in 10, but he asked me not to solve his life for him." That thought hit harder than the bell. I looked at him. Logan looked back. For one suspended second, the world narrowed to snow, candlelight, and the clean cedar note of his alpha scent. His voice, when he spoke aloud, was quiet. "What do you want to do?" Not "what should I do for you?" Not "stay behind me." Not "let me handle it." What do you want to do? A month and a half earlier, I had woken inside a romance novel as an Omega famous for not understanding when anyone was flirting with him. Apparently character development was real, because I understood now. I understood Logan's restraint. I understood Blake's loyalty, and most inconveniently, I understood my own heart. Downstairs, hundreds of students and donors were waiting to see whether the clueless Omega would finally break. Dean Sloane knocked a third time. "Elliot?" I reached for the door, then Logan caught my sleeve, not my wrist, not my hand, just the fabric gently, giving me every chance to pull away. His thoughts came through as clearly as the midnight bell. "If he chooses Blake, I'll live with it." My breath stopped. "If he chooses no one, I'll live with that too." Logan swallowed once. "But if he walks out there alone because he thinks he has to, I swear I will spend the rest of my life regretting that I didn't tell him I love him." I stared at him. He did not know I could hear every word, not yet, and before I could decide whether to laugh, cry, kiss him, or make him walk back down all 6 flights of medieval-inspired American architecture by himself. The bell tower door swung open. If secret thoughts and slow-burn boy love are your kind of story, stay with me, and follow the channel if you want to find the next one easily. Now let me tell you how I ended up in that tower. In my previous life, I was a 27-year-old data analyst in Redmond, Washington. My natural predators were broken dashboards, meetings that could have been emails, and executives who said, "quick question" at 4:58 p.m. I worked at Microsoft, drank coffee with the moral seriousness of a monk, and had perfected the art of looking thoughtful while secretly wondering what I would eat for dinner. Then, after a 70-hour week and one deeply unwise decision to read a web novel until 3 in the morning, I fell asleep on my couch. I woke beneath a carved wooden ceiling. Rain tapped against stained glass. Somewhere nearby, a bell rang. I opened my eyes and saw a stone fireplace, a Persian rug, 2 enormous wardrobes, 3 desks, and a window overlooking the Hudson River. My first thought was that Microsoft had dramatically improved employee wellness benefits. My second thought came when I sat up and saw a face in the mirror. The face was mine, except younger, prettier, and wearing the stunned expression of a man who had just discovered cheekbones he had not ordered. "No," I whispered. A phone vibrated on the nightstand. The lock screen read, "Elliot Hayes, Aldwyn Colig." I knew that name. Unfortunately, I knew it from the Gilded Alphas of Hawthorne Hall, the web novel I had finished approximately 7 minutes before losing consciousness in my old life. Elliot Hayes was a 22-year-old male Omega and a minor supporting character. He was sweet, absent-minded, chronically sleepy, academically gifted when he could be bothered, and so catastrophically clueless about romance that readers had spent 400 chapters screaming at him in the comments. He attended St. Aldwyn on a merit scholarship, came from an ordinary family in Washington state, and had no dynasty, trust fund, or surname carved into a campus building. That detail mattered. At St. Aldwyn, money rarely announced itself. It simply expected everyone else completely empty. Original Elliot's memories came as impressions. Which stairwell led to class, the smell of the library after rain, Blake hating olives, Logan pretending not to like cinnamon. I could not tell whether I had replaced him or continued him. The memories felt like rooms in a house I had inherited, familiar, but not built by my hands. He also lived with 2 alpha roommates, 2 extremely important alpha roommates. I lowered the phone. "Oh, you have got to be kidding me." The bedroom door opened. Logan Bennett walked in, carrying coffee. In the novel, Logan was described so often that I had once wondered whether the author received royalties for the phrase coldly handsome. The description was not wrong. He was tall, broad-shouldered, without looking bulky, dressed in a charcoal sweater over a white shirt. His dark hair was combed back. Thin silver-framed glasses rested on his nose. His face had the calm severity of a cathedral statue that had recently acquired a finance degree. He paused when he saw me sitting upright. "You're awake." His voice was deep, controlled, and annoyingly pleasant. I remembered his character introduction immediately. Logan Bennett, 24, Alpha, heir to the Bennett family's real estate empire, acting CEO of Bennett Development Group, famous for treating emotion as if it were an unauthorized expense. He placed the coffee on my desk. "You missed breakfast." Tragic. His brow moved by perhaps 0.5 millimeter. "Are you feeling well?" Define well. That earned me a longer look. I remembered something else about the book. Original Elliot had been in love with no one. Both Logan and Blake had been secretly in love with him. Neither had confessed because Elliot had the romantic perception of decorative gravel. The main plot eventually turned ugly when an anonymous campus account framed Elliot for manipulating them. He left St. Aldwyn in humiliation around chapter 80. I had disliked that arc. Now I disliked it professionally. Logan stepped closer. "You're pale." "I just realized I have responsibilities." That would explain it. I blinked. Had Logan Bennett just made a joke? He lifted one hand, hesitated, then touched the back of his fingers to my forehead, and a voice exploded inside my head. "Warm, he's warm. His hair is sticking up. God, I want to smooth it down. Don't, you'll scare him. Why does he look so soft in the morning? Stop staring at his mouth." I jerked backward so violently I hit the headboard. Logan froze. "Elliot." I stared at his lips. They had not moved. Did I hurt him? Idiot. Of course I did. Too close. Give him space. Logan immediately stepped back. I pointed at him. He looked at my finger. I lowered it. This seemed like the kind of situation where pointing accomplished very little. "Did you?" I began. "Yes." "Did you say something?" "No." Inside my skull, his voice said, "He's acting strange. Maybe he had another scent headache. I should call the clinic." No, he hates being fussed over. Ask him first. I gripped the blanket. There are moments when the human mind rises to extraordinary challenges. Mine said very clearly, "Oh, hell no." The door burst open. Blake Carter entered with a gym bag over one shoulder and rain bright on his blonde hair. He was taller than Logan by maybe an inch, built like he had signed a private treaty with every piece of athletic equipment in New York State, and smiling like morning had personally congratulated him. Sleeping Beauty lives. I nearly choked. Blake tossed the bag beside his desk. Blake Carter, 23, Alpha, Carter Media Heir, former national junior fencing champion, current captain of St. Aldwyn's Fencing Club, professional menace. He crossed the room and leaned over me. Are you sick? No. You look sick. I'm having an existential event. Before coffee, bold. Then his thoughts hit me. His voice is rough from sleep. That should be illegal. Put him in my hoodie. Make him drink something warm. Maybe kiss his forehead. No, Bennett already got too close. Why is Bennett always first? Annoying corporate gargoyle. I stared at him. Blake smiled. What? You called him a gargoyle. Silence. Logan slowly turned toward Blake. Blake blinked. I did not. Inside his head. I absolutely did, but only spiritually. I made a sound halfway between a cough and a laugh. Both alphas looked at me, and then both thought at once. Logan, he laughed. Blake, there it is. I'd embarrass myself daily for that sound. My ears became hot. I escaped to the bathroom. For 10 full minutes, I stood beneath cold water while accepting several important facts. 1. I had transmigrated into a male Omega. 2. I was living in modern America inside a story that aesthetically wished it had been born in 1400. 3. I could hear the private thoughts of my 2 alpha roommates. 4. Both of them were much less dignified internally than advertised. 5. If I intended to survive this plot with my reputation, sanity, and possibly heart intact, I needed a plan. I stepped out of the shower, looked at my reflection, and took a solemn breath. Rule 1, I told myself, never react to anything they think. A pause. Rule 2, avoid romantic situations. Another pause. Rule 3, absolutely do not fall in love with either alpha. From the other side of the door, Blake called, Elliot, Logan made toast. Logan corrected, I ordered toast. I closed my eyes. This was going to be a long semester. By 9 in the morning, I had also discovered that my new body knew exactly where to go, even when I did not. Muscle memory carried me through arched corridors while my mind conducted emergency research. Abiodynamics in this world were ordinary biology, not destiny. Alphas, betas, and omegas attended the same schools, held the same jobs, and signed the same tax forms. Scent blockers and suppressants were common. Federal workplace law had long since made secondary gender discrimination illegal. Society, naturally, had found subtler ways to be irritating. I tested my psychic problem like production code. 2 betas, silence. An alpha arguing into his phone, silence. Professor Mercer searching for a marker, silence. Then Logan entered and I heard, he forgot his scarf again. Blake followed. If Bennett reminds him first, I am filing a complaint with fate. Apparently I heard only them. Distance blurred the signal, emotion sharpened it. Attraction, worry, jealousy, embarrassment. All came through loudest. I could not switch it off. Excellent feature, terrible settings. Wealthy families still treated alpha status like an inherited medal. Old money social circles still romanticized matches. And certain private colleges still contained young adults with too much money and anonymous internet access. In the great hall, I chose a seat at the far end of a long walnut table beneath stained glass windows depicting philosophers who looked disappointed in breakfast. Logan sat on my left. Blake sat on my right. Blake grinned. His shoulder brushed mine. If he keeps edging away, I'm putting a hand on his chair and stopping him. No, he'll hate that. Better idea. Steal his strawberry so he has to fight me for it. His fingers drifted toward my plate. I slapped his hand with my napkin. He looked delighted. How did you know? Your face is criminal. My face is beloved. By your mother. Also by 3 million followers. I had forgotten Carter Media's golden son had a large social presence because of his fencing career and family name. Your mother is still the more credible source. Blake laughed loud enough that a table nearby turned. Logan looked down at his coffee. He's funnier today, less guarded. Did something happen? I like this version. I liked the old one too. Stop ranking versions of him like quarterly projections. I nearly inhaled my tea. That was the problem with mind reading. You learned things nobody had given you permission to know. Some were ridiculous. Blake thought Logan's glasses made him look like an aristocratic tax auditor. Logan believed Blake owned too many jackets for a man with no respect for buttons. Some were unexpectedly tender. Logan noticed I ate the crust of toast last. Blake knew I disliked loud rooms and positioned himself between me and the busiest aisle, and some thoughts made me want to crawl under the table. His scent blocker is fading, Logan thought when I leaned closer to reach the jam. Vanilla and rain, Jesus, do not react, he'll notice. I froze. In this world, Elliot's natural omega scent was apparently vanilla and rain. Of course it was. Apparently I had transmigrated into a candle. Elliot? Logan asked. Nothing. Blake sniffed once. Then his internal voice went completely feral. Oh, that is unfair. Who smells like a bakery during a thunderstorm? I want to bury my face in his neck. I am a civilized man. I am a civilized man. I stood. I need to go. Class is in 20 minutes, Logan said. I need to go now. Where? Anywhere with ventilation. I escaped. My first lecture was held in Ashcroft Hall, a building with pointed arches, old stone, and a classroom projector newer than my soul. The course was called Leadership Analytics. Good, data. Numbers did not have pheromones. Professor Daniel Mercer, a 51-year-old beta with rolled sleeves and the weary expression of a man who had spent decades explaining regression models to rich people, handed out a case packet. Teams of 3, he said. Your term project will analyze the redevelopment proposal for a historic district in Hudson Valley. Same residential groups for efficiency. My forehead met the desk. Beside me, Blake whispered, overcome with joy. Emotion. Logan turned a page. Inside his mind. 6 weeks of group meetings. Stay professional. Blake's thoughts followed. 6 weeks of annoying Bennett and feeding Elliot snacks. Best class ever. Professor Mercer continued. The top team presents at the Vanguard Forum in December. Representatives from major employers and investment groups attend. Last year we had recruiters from JP Chase, IBM, and several New York firms. Old me woke up spiritually. A high-stakes analytics project. Finally, a language I spoke. Ridership forecasts, housing demand, preservation costs, tax impact, tourism projections. My brain clicked into place. The numbers were wrong. I raised my hand. Professor Mercer looked surprised. In the novel, Elliot had been intelligent but deliberately mediocre because attention made him uncomfortable. Yes, Mr. Hayes. The tourism model double counts weekend visitors. Silence, I pointed to the appendix. Table 11 treats hotel stays and attraction entries as separate visitor groups, but the survey methodology says 72% overlap. If you use both in the revenue forecast, the redevelopment benefit is inflated by about 18%. Professor Mercer stared. Logan stopped writing. Blake stopped drawing a tiny sword in his margin. The professor crossed the room, bent over my packet, and scanned the table. Then he looked at me. You're correct. 30 heads turned. My old survival instincts whispered, Congratulations, you have become visible. I smiled weakly. Wonderful. After class, I packed as quickly as possible. Too late. A man blocked the aisle. Chase Holloway, 23, Alpha, son of a major St. Aldwyn donor and chair of the Student Social Council. His family ran the Holloway Foundation, and Chase treated the Vanguard Fellowship as his runway to a seat on its board. He expected to win, impress donors, and call inherited access leadership potential. He had never been a supervillain. He was worse. He was bored, polished, insecure, and very good at making cruelty look like etiquette. A scholarship Omega correcting a model tied to the future he expected made me a convenient target. He smiled at me. Didn't know you cared about the Vanguard Forum, Hayes? I care deeply about arithmetic. His smile thinned. Some people have been working toward that presentation for years. Then they should be thrilled the spreadsheet is less wrong. Blake made a choking sound behind me. Chase glanced at him, then Logan. Something ugly flickered across his face before the smile returned. Well, good luck. He left. My phone buzzed before I reached the courtyard. A new black bell post, a photograph of me sitting between Logan and Blake at breakfast. The quiet Omega of Hawthorne Hall has suddenly his voice. Amazing what the right roommates can do for a carer. Below it, comments multiplied. He's using them. Why else would Bennett and Carter live with him? Vanguard judges should know. My stomach dropped. There it was, the plot, only faster. In the book, the gossip had started 3 weeks later. I stared at the screen while students moved around me beneath the cloister arches. Rain had stopped. Water slipped from stone gargoyles in slow drops. A warm hand appeared near my elbow but did not touch. Logan, he had seen the post. His face became almost expressionless. His thoughts did not. Find the account. Contact counsel. Have the post removed. No, Elliot hates people taking control. Ask what he wants. That hesitation surprised me. Blake arrived on my other side. His jaw was tight. Give me one name. One, I will ruin his hair in every photograph for the next decade. Despite myself, I laughed. Blake blinked. What? Nothing. Logan's gaze settled on me. What do you want us to do? The exact question he would ask again 6 weeks later in the bell tower. At the time, I did not understand how important it was. I shoved my phone into my coat. Nothing. Blake frowned. Elliot, I mean it. If I react, it becomes a story. It already is a story, Logan said. Then I'll make it boring. His eyes narrowed slightly. He's pretending it doesn't hurt. I hated how accurately he could read me without supernatural assistance. I'm fine. Logan's thought came quietly. Liar. I looked away. That evening, St. Aldwyn hosted a reception in the Great Hall for Vanguard Fellows and donors. I considered faking a fever. Unfortunately, Logan owned a thermometer. Blake offered to fake a building emergency. I told him that was probably a felony. So at 7, I entered the hall in a black suit, while candles glowed along the stone walls and a string quartet played beneath banners bearing the college crest. Medieval Europe, sponsored by American tuition. I had barely reached the drinks table when Chase Holloway appeared with 2 members of the fellowship committee. Elliot, he said pleasantly, we were just discussing the model correction. One committee member, a silver-haired alumnus named Richard Bell, nodded. Impressive catch. Thank you. Chase lifted his glass. Though I suppose living with Bennett gives you access to unusually good preparation. There it was, soft enough to deny, sharp enough to cut. The nearby conversation quieted. My palms went cold. Before I could answer, Logan stepped beside me. He did not touch me. He simply stood there. Elliot found the error before I did, he said. Chase's smile held. I didn't mean. I know what you meant. Logan's voice remained calm. Several donors were listening now. Blake appeared on my other side, because apparently subtlety had died. Logan continued, for transparency, our team uploaded version history this afternoon. Elliot opened the source file first. His note is time-stamped 43 minutes before mine. The alumnus raised his brows. Clear enough. Chase's face changed by 1 degree. Logan was not finished. If the Vanguard Fellowship allows anonymous gossip about an Omega's private life to influence academic evaluation, Bennett Development will withdraw me from the competition. My head snapped toward him. Not money, not threats himself. His own position, his own prestige. The room went very still. Inside his mind, I heard. Don't look at me like that. This is basic. He should never have to earn the right to be treated fairly. Something deep in my chest shifted. Blake leaned toward Chase with a bright smile. And for the record, Elliot doesn't need to manipulate either of us. His thoughts added, we volunteer as tribute. I coughed into my fist. Chase excused himself. The conversation slowly resumed. I turned on Logan. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. No, you wanted to. He considered me. Both can be true. That line stayed with me. Later, I escaped into the cloister garden. Cold air moved through the arches. The last copper leaves of October shivered on black branches. Beyond the walls, the Hudson reflected a thin stripe of moonlight. I heard Logan before I saw him, not his footsteps, his thoughts. Give him space. He stopped beneath the arch behind me. May I come over there? I almost smiled. You're already over there. Closer then. The absurd formality warmed me. Yes. He joined me at the stone railing. For a while neither of us spoke. Then he removed his coat. I stiffened. He stopped. Are you cold? A little. May I? A question. Again. I nodded. He draped the coat around my shoulders. It held his scent. Cedar, black tea, winter air. My body reacted before my brain did, relaxing into the warmth. Logan noticed. His thoughts went silent for 3 full seconds. Then, do not kiss him. I stared at the river. Do not kiss him. My pulse quickened. Absolutely do not kiss him. I glanced sideways. He was looking at my mouth. Logan. His gaze lifted. What? Nothing. His jaw tightened. Coward. I smiled. For the first time since waking in this world, the future did not feel like a trap. It felt dangerous in an entirely different way. The black bell post should have faded. Instead, it multiplied. By Friday, someone had uploaded photographs of me leaving Ashcroft Hall with Logan, walking to lunch with Blake, and standing beneath the cloister in Logan's coat. The captions were tasteful in the way poison could be tasteful if served in crystal. Omega Neverting, Avant Level. Bennett coat today. Carter arm tomorrow? Vanguard favorite group project. I developed a new morning routine. Wake up, check weather, check class schedule, refuse to check black bell, regret everything. Your self-control is inspiring, Blake said from the sofa. I threw a cushion at him. He caught it one-handed. He threw something at me, domestic. You are impossible. I am charming. Those words are not synonyms. Across the room, Logan closed his laptop. We leave in 40 minutes. The Vanguard Fellowship had scheduled a 3-day retreat at Mohonk Mountain House, near New Paltz, a real Victorian castle perched above a lake in the Shangunk Mountains. The brochure promised leadership workshops, historical architecture, hiking trails, and collaborative immersion. I read the last phrase as you will not escape your roommates. We drove north beneath a low gray sky. Blake claimed the front seat because he said Logan drove, like a diplomatic motorcade. I sat in the back with my tablet and tried to work. Logan's thoughts occasionally drifted back to me. He skipped breakfast again. 5 minutes later, a wrapped granola bar appeared over the seat. I stared at it. Logan kept his eyes on the road. Eat. That sounded like an order. Please eat. Better. Blake turned around. Do I get points for bringing chips? No. Cruel. At a stoplight, Logan glanced into the rearview mirror. He looks tired. I looked down before he could catch me watching. The strange thing was that his private voice had changed, or perhaps I had. At first, every possessive thought had sounded like an alarm. Now I was beginning to hear the second layer. The thought Logan had before touching me, the thought where he stopped himself, the thought where he chose to ask. Desire was not action, fantasy was not permission, and for all the wild things inside Logan Bennett's head, the man himself had become almost painfully careful around me. Blake was careful too, just louder. He offered his hoodie when the car got cold, then added, "You can return it in approximately never." His thoughts said, if he wears it, Bennett will look like he swallowed a lemon. I took it purely for scientific reasons. Logan's jaw tightened. Science confirmed. The first workshop lasted 4 hours. The second involved trust exercises. I considered leaving society. By dinner, my Omega body had begun to feel strange. Too warm, too sensitive to scent. I checked the calendar on my phone and found a note original Elliot had set months ago. Suppressant adjustment due. I stared at it. Of course the universe would give me a biological maintenance schedule and hide it in an app folder called Health. I had medication, but travel and stress had pushed my cycle off pattern. Not a heat, the campus clinic guide assured me, just a temporary scent fluctuation. Still, every alpha in the dining room seemed louder to my senses. I excused myself before dessert. Outside, snow had thickened. I took the long corridor toward our suite, passing tall windows black with night. Halfway there, footsteps approached behind me. I tensed. Elliot. Logan, relief arrived so quickly it embarrassed me. He stopped several feet away, his eyes sharpened. You're uncomfortable. I'm fine. You say that often when you are not. Bad habit. His nostrils flared once subtly, then his thought struck me. His scent is stronger. Don't approach. He may be overstimulated. Ask if he wants the clinic. Don't make him feel watched. I leaned against the wall. You can come closer. Logan went still. I realized what I had said. My face warmed. For conversation, I added, obviously. One corner of his mouth moved. Obviously. He came within arm's reach and stopped. The hallway smelled of old wood, snow from our coats, and his cedar scent. Did you miss medication? He asked. Adjustment dose. Do you have it? Yes. Do you want me to get water? I looked at him, no command, no assumption, just a question. Yes, please. He returned with water, waited while I took the tablet, and walked with me to the suite. At my door, I put a hand on the frame. Logan? Yes? Why are you always so careful? His expression changed, not much, enough. Inside his head. Because I know how much power people think an alpha is entitled to use. He said aloud, because care without choice is control. The answer landed somewhere under my ribs. He looked away toward the window. My father was old-fashioned about hierarchy. He treated every room as something to own, every person as someone to manage. His voice remained even, but his thoughts were quieter. I promised I would never become him. For the first time, Logan Bennett stopped being the cold alpha CEO from a novel. He became a 24-year-old man standing in a castle hotel hallway, trying very hard not to inherit the worst parts of the person who raised him. I softened. Thank you. He nodded. Then his gaze dropped to my mouth. His thoughts betrayed him immediately. Still want to kiss him. I bit the inside of my cheek. Very badly. I looked at his mouth too. The air shifted. For one reckless second, I wondered what would happen if I leaned forward. Then the suite door flew open. Blake stood there wearing a hotel robe over sweatpants and holding 3 mugs. I made cocoa. I stepped back so quickly my shoulder hit the wall. Blake looked between us. His thoughts screamed. I interpolated something. Logan closed his eyes. I accepted a mug. Perfect timing. Blake narrowed his eyes. You're lying. Prove it. The next morning, snow sealed the hiking trails, so the fellows were moved into the old library for project work. It was beautiful. Dark beams crossed the ceiling. Books climbed 2 floors behind brass rails. A fire burned in the stone hearth, while snow pressed white against the windows. It would have been peaceful if Chase Holloway had not been sitting 3 tables away. He spent most of the morning whispering with 2 students while occasionally glancing at me. At noon, my phone buzzed. Black bell. A photograph from the hallway the previous night. Logan standing close to me. The caption. Bennett Private Omega Consultation. Vanguard rules must be flexible for some people. My hands went cold. How had someone taken that picture? Blake saw my face. What happened? I turned the phone over, too late. Logan had already seen. His thoughts sharpened. Someone followed him. I hated the fear that rose in me, not because the picture was scandalous, because I had not known anyone was there. I stood. I need air. Logan began to rise. I held up one hand. Alone. He stopped. That mattered. I walked through the lobby and out, beneath the covered porch. Snow softened every sound. The lake was a sheet of dark steel. I breathed until my pulse slowed. Then the door opened. I almost snapped at Logan before realizing it was Blake. He remained near the door. You said alone, he said, so I'm not coming closer. I looked at him. I just wanted to tell you the cocoa machine is broken. A laugh escaped me. He smiled. There, better. You came outside in loafers to tell me that? I'm heroic. His thoughts were softer than his grin. He looked scared. I hate that. Don't turn it into a joke too quickly. Let him decide. I rubbed my hands together. Blake. Yeah? Do you ever get tired of acting like everything is funny? His smile faded, snow collected on his hair. Constantly. That answer surprised me. He leaned against a pillar. My family owns media companies. Every mistake I made as a teenager became content somewhere, so I learned that if I laughed first, nobody could embarrass me. For once his thoughts matched his face. I don't want Elliot to think I'm shallow. You're not shallow, I said. He stared. I realized too late that he had not said that aloud. My entire nervous system stopped. Blake's brows drew together. What? Nothing. You answered a question I didn't ask. I'm intuitive. You called me an aristocratic tax auditor yesterday before I said it. That was Logan. Blake stared harder. I backed toward the railing. Fun weather. Elliot. Historic snow. Elliot. The door opened again. Logan stepped out. His gaze moved from Blake to me. What happened? Blake slowly pointed at me. I think he's psychic. My soul left my body for administrative leave. Logan looked at me. Inside his mind, that would explain several things. I looked at both of them. No. Blake folded his arms. Compelling defense. I made the only strategic decision available. I walked back inside. They followed, naturally. That night, after dinner, the fellowship held a masquerade rehearsal for the founders' event. The audiovisual staff had stored the backup projector and presentation drives in the bell tower. Blake complained about 6 flights of stairs. I remembered the location because complaining is an excellent mnemonic device. Masks had been arranged on a table. Black velvet, gold filigree, silver leaves. Blake chose one with a ridiculous feather. Logan chose plain black. I picked silver. Pretty, Blake said. His thoughts added, dangerously pretty. Logan's gaze held mine. Beautiful. My throat tightened. This ability was becoming less useful by the hour, because terror was easy, embarrassment was survivable, but tenderness? Tenderness was dangerous. It made you want to believe people, and believing people was how they gained the power to hurt you. I turned toward the ballroom. Let's rehearse. Logan offered his hand. May I? I looked at his palm, then at him. Yes. His fingers closed around mine, warm, steady. His thoughts were anything but. Don't pull him closer. A pause. Unless he comes closer first. So, naturally, because my self-preservation had clearly resigned, I did. The retreat ended on Sunday, but whatever had shifted followed us home. 5 weeks passed. The Vanguard project became the spine of our days. Chase's team pushed aggressive redevelopment. Ours found that preservation, mixed-income housing, and better transit produced stronger long-term returns. I automated 12,000 survey rows because manual cleanup offended me, then used the saved time to nap through part of Blake's fencing practice. You came to support me, he said. The bleachers are warm. By then, I was no longer clueless about 2 alphas liking me. I was clueless about myself. I blamed Logan's effect on my pulse on caffeine and my habit of saving jokes for Blake on social conditioning. Black Bell posted 43 times. As our model gained attention, teasing hardened into accusations that a scholarship Omega was trading intimacy for influence. At least we changed too. Logan learned to ask before solving. Blake learned not every bad mood needed a joke. I learned loud thoughts were not commands. By the first Tuesday of December, snow edged Hawthorne Hall. Founders' Night was less than a week away. Then I opened Logan's desk drawer looking for a stapler. So when I opened Logan's desk drawer by mistake, one Tuesday night, and found a folder labeled Heise Sikiki, my stomach turned over. I had been looking for the stapler. This is important. I was not snooping. I was conducting office supply retrieval. The folder contained printouts, dates, locations, screenshots of Black Bell posts, notes on unfamiliar cars seen near Hawthorne Hall, a list of my class times, my medication pickup schedule. My chest went tight. Behind me, the door opened. Logan entered. He saw the folder, stopped. For once, his thoughts arrived before his expression could hide anything. Oh no. I held up the pages. What is this? Elliot. What is this? Blake, sitting on the sofa, took off his headphones. Logan closed the door. I hired a private campus security consultant after the Mohonk photograph. I stared at him. You hired someone to watch me? To watch for whoever was watching you. That is an extremely CEO sentence. His jaw tightened. I should have told you. Yes. I was concerned you would refuse. I would have. I know. Do you hear the problem? Yes. His answer came too quickly to fight. That made me angrier. You had my schedule. The consultant needed. My clinic schedule, Logan. His face changed. He understood. The line was bright and immediate. This was not about romance. This was privacy. My Omega status already caused people to treat my body as public information. The last thing I needed was someone I trusted deciding protection justified access. Blake stood. I didn't know about the clinic stuff. I looked at him. His thoughts crashed into me. Bennett screwed up. Don't make this about winning. Elliot is actually hurt. That sentence broke the last thread of my patience. Stop. Both men froze. Stop thinking so loudly. Silence. Blake's mouth opened. Logan went perfectly still. I closed my eyes. Well, there are secrets you reveal carefully. There are secrets you reveal after preparation, and there are secrets that exit your mouth because you are furious and your brain has resigned without notice. I set the folder on the desk. I can hear you. No one moved. I pointed at Logan. I can hear what you think. Then Blake. And you. Blake's face went blank. Logan's face somehow became even blanker. I laughed once without humor. Yes, congratulations. The Clueless Omega has been listening to the director's commentary. Blake turned red, actually red, from collar to ears. His thoughts vanished into static. Then one clear sentence emerged. He heard the shower thought. I stared at him. His eyes widened. Oh my God. I don't know what shower thought you mean. You definitely do. I am choosing mercy. He covered his face. Logan had not moved. I looked at him. The silence in his mind scared me more than the noise had. Say something. He removed his glasses. When? When what? When did this start? The day I woke up sick, 6 weeks ago. His eyes closed briefly. I could almost see him reviewing every private thought he had ever had around me. When he opened them, there was no anger, only horror, not at me, at himself. You heard everything. Enough. His throat moved. I'm sorry. That was not the response I had expected. You're sorry? My private thoughts were not meant to become something you had to carry. I stared. Blake slowly lowered his hands. Logan continued. Some of them were intense. That is a diplomatic word. Unacceptable, then. Thoughts aren't actions. No, but you were exposed to them without choice. There it was again. Choice, even now. I looked down at the security folder. And yet you still did this. His expression tightened. Yes. The admission was clean, no excuse. I was wrong. The anger inside me shifted, losing some of its shape. Blake sat on the arm of the sofa. So you really hear us? Yes. All the time. Mostly when you're emotional. His eyes narrowed. That explains breakfast. And the gargoyle. And Mohonk. And approximately 47 occasions when you looked at me like you wanted to relocate to another zip code without leaving a forwarding address. That number seems low. He groaned. Logan remained serious. Can you turn it off? No. Does it hurt? Sometimes it's exhausting. His face went colder, but the thought underneath was warm with guilt. And I made it worse. I sighed. Don't do that. Do what? Turn this into another problem you need to fix. His gaze met mine. I walked to the whiteboard Blake used for fencing schedules and erased half of it. New system. Blake blinked. What system? I wrote. Room 3A rules for coisting with a telepathic Omega. Blake snorted. Logan put his glasses back on. I numbered the list. 1. Thoughts are private, even if I accidentally hear them. I will not use them against you. Blake raised a hand. What about funny thoughts? Case by case. Cruel. 2. A thought is not consent. Logan's eyes sharpened in approval. Agreed. 3. No touching without asking when the situation is romantic, scent-related, or emotionally charged. Blake nodded. Reasonable. 4. No private investigators without telling me. Logan said, agreed. 5. No solving my problems with money, lawyers, family influence, social media, alpha intimidation, mysterious executive phone calls, fencing popularity, or whatever else rich people do. Blake raised his hand again. What if I solve a problem with excellent hair? Permitted. Finally. I looked at Logan. His mouth almost smiled. 6, I said. If either of you actually likes me, use words. The room went silent. I had not planned that one. My marker squeaked against the board. Blake looked at Logan. Logan looked at Blake. Their minds became a storm. Blake, say it. No, Bennett will say it first. I should say it first. But Elliot looks terrified. Don't corner him. Logan, he deserves an answer. But not while he's angry. Not while he feels trapped. I put down the marker. Well, Blake stood first. He shoved his hands into his pockets. I like you. Simple. No performance. I like that you pretend not to care and then fix everyone's spreadsheets. I like that you insult me when I deserve it. I like that you eat the chocolate part of muffins last. And yes, I think you're beautiful. My face heated. His thoughts added. And I want to kiss him until I forget my own name, but apparently we are using words responsibly. I coughed. Thank you. Blake looked toward Logan. My pulse jumped. Logan's expression was unreadable. Then he stepped forward and stopped at the exact distance our new rules required. I am in love with you. My breath left. Blake's eyebrows rose. Even he had not expected that. Logan continued, voice low. I cared about you for almost a year, he said. But these last 6 weeks are when I fell in love with you as the man you are now. Inside his mind. Don't ask for anything. Just tell him the truth. I like your laziness, he said. That is insulting. I'm not finished. Proceed. I like that you are only lazy about things you think are meaningless. The moment someone needs help, you become impossible to stop. I like your terrible handwriting. I like that you think no one notices when you feed the courtyard cat. I like the face you make when coffee is too bitter. My throat tightened. And I like, he said more softly, that you never seem impressed by my name. His thoughts whispered. You make me feel like a man before an alpha, before a CEO, before a Bennett. I looked away. That one hurt, not badly, deeply. Blake broke the silence. Well, that was disgustingly effective. I laughed because otherwise I might have cried. Logan's expression softened. Then I pointed at the folder. You're still in trouble. I know. You're deleting the clinic information. Immediately. And canceling the consultant. Yes. I considered. Not entirely. He paused. I sighed. We do need to know who is taking pictures, but I approve what they collect. Relief flickered through his thoughts. Done. Blake leaned back. Look at us, communication, growth, terrifying. I turned toward the board. At the bottom I added one final rule. 7, no competing for me like I am a troppy. Blake read it. So, competitive dating. I looked over my shoulder. No. He smiled. Casual competitive dating. No. Logan adjusted his cuff. What would you consider acceptable? I stared at both of them. This was ridiculous. 2 alphas, 2 confessions. 1 mind-reading omega who had previously considered romance an inefficient scheduling problem. I rubbed my forehead. 1 date each. Blake stood straight. Logan's eyes changed. 1, I repeated. Then I decide whether I want another. No sabotage. Blake held out his hand to Logan. May the best man win. Logan looked at it. No. Coward. I walked toward my room. Behind me, their thoughts exploded into planning. Blake, Central Park, ice skating, hot dogs. He likes simple things. Logan, Morgan Library. He stared at the medieval manuscripts poster for 12 seconds last month. I stopped at my door. Damn him. He had noticed. I went inside smiling anyway. Blake went first. Because Bennett will overplan, he said. I heard that, Logan replied. You were meant to. He took me ice skating at Bryant Park because, according to him, falling publicly builds character. I informed him I had enough character. He was excellent. I was not. At one point, I grabbed both his arms while my skates attempted to negotiate separate treaties with gravity. Blake steadied me. Got you. His voice lost its teasing. His thoughts did too. I really do. My heart softened. Later, we ate hot dogs standing beneath a striped umbrella while midtown traffic hissed over wet streets. He told me he had grown up in Greenwich, Connecticut, in houses where every room looked prepared for a magazine photograph. I used to break things on purpose, he said. Why? So something looked lived in. That sentence changed him in my mind. Not enough to make him Logan, but enough to make him real. At the end of the afternoon, he walked me to the train. Can I kiss you? He asked. I hesitated. Blake saw the answer before I gave it. His smile changed, becoming gentler. Not today. Not today. Okay. No disappointment weaponized into guilt, no wounded alpha pride. Just okay. His thoughts stung more than anger would have. I think he already knows who he wants. He bumped his shoulder lightly against mine. Bennett's date better be terrible. I laughed. It probably involves spreadsheets. Exactly. Logan's date involved medieval illuminated manuscripts. Of course it did. The Morgan Library and Museum stood on Madison Avenue, like a private Italian Renaissance palace dropped into Manhattan traffic. Inside, red velvet walls, carved wood, painted ceilings, and shelves of old books surrounded us in warm light. I stopped beneath the vaulted ceiling of the historic library. Oh. Logan watched me instead of the room. His thoughts were quiet. Worth it. You remembered, I said. You looked at the exhibition poster. For 12 seconds. His face changed. I smiled. You think very specifically. He cleared his throat. Occupational hazard. We moved through the galleries slowly. I liked old manuscripts because they made time feel physical. Ink survived hands. Gold leaf survived empires. Someone centuries ago had bent over parchment beneath candlelight, never knowing a tired former data analyst from Washington State would one day stare at the result after waking inside a romance novel. Life was absurd, beautiful occasionally. At one display, Logan stood close enough that our sleeves touched. His thought came warm and immediate. Ask. He looked at me. May I hold your hand? I gave it to him. No dramatic spark, no supernatural bond. Just his palm warm against mine. It was better. We had dinner at a small restaurant near Madison Square Park. Logan had reserved a quiet corner because he knew crowds exhausted me. He did not order for me. He did not choose my wine. He did not check his phone once. You're staring, I said. So are you. I'm observing. So am I. Mine is data collection. Mine is admiration. I nearly dropped my fork, his mouth curved. Was that flirting? Yes. Thank you for labeling it. You are welcome. I laughed. There he was, the man behind the Alpha CEO. The date ended outside in cold rain. New York reflected itself in the pavement. Taxis blurred yellow through the wet streets. Logan opened an umbrella, and we stood close beneath it. My shoulder touched his chest. He smelled like cedar and rain. Elliot. Yes? May I kiss you? This time I did not hesitate because I was afraid. I hesitated because I wanted to remember the second before it happened. The city noise. The rain ticking on black fabric, his hand holding the umbrella steady, his eyes on mine, his thoughts, for once, not dirty at all. Please say yes. Yes. Logan lowered his head. The kiss was soft, almost careful enough to hurt. His mouth brushed mine once, then again when I leaned closer. Warmth opened slowly through my chest. I felt his breath catch. His free hand lifted, stopped beside my waist. "May I?" I nodded. His hand settled there. That was when his thoughts lost all professional discipline. He said yes. "He's kissing me. Don't pull him closer." Actually, he leaned closer. "Can I keep him here?" 10 minutes, an hour. Forever is probably too strong for a first kiss. Stop thinking forever while kissing him. I smiled against his mouth. Logan drew back. "What?" "Nothing." His eyes narrowed. "You heard me." "Unfortunately." He closed them. I laughed so hard I had to hold his coat. His forehead dropped briefly against mine. "This ability is humiliating." "It has benefits." "Name one." "I know when you're pretending to be calm." "I am never pretending." "I am always pretending." I laughed again. He kissed the corner of my mouth. "Cruel." CEO survives telepathic Omega, film at 11. His eyes warmed, then the warmth faded slightly. "Elliot." I knew from his tone the next thing mattered. "I don't want you to choose me because I can protect you." I went still. He looked toward the rain. "My family, my company, my status. Those things make it easy to build a comfortable cage and call it safety." His thoughts echoed his words. I almost did. He looked back. "If you choose me, I want it to be because you like the man standing under this umbrella, not because he can make problems disappear." I swallowed. "That man is extremely annoying." "I've heard. He organizes groceries by expiration date." "Efficient. He owns 6 nearly identical black coats." "They are not identical. He once sent me a calendar invitation for laundry." "That was a shared machine scheduling issue." I smiled. "And I like him." Logan stopped breathing. I touched the lapel of his coat. "I don't know exactly what that means yet." His thought came soft. "Enough." Aloud he said, "That is enough." We took the train back to Sleepy Hollow. I fell asleep against his shoulder somewhere after Harlem. When I woke, his coat was tucked around me, and his phone was balanced awkwardly in one hand because he had refused to move the arm I was sleeping on. His thoughts drifted through half-sleep. "My arm is dead." A pause. "Worth it." I closed my eyes again. By Monday, I had made my choice. I did not announce it immediately. This was partly because I wanted to be thoughtful. Mostly, I enjoyed watching two confident alphas become increasingly ridiculous. Blake made pancakes shaped like letters spelling Team B. Logan looked at them and made eggs. "Your campaign lacks vision," Blake said. "My campaign has protein." I ate both. Then Professor Mercer emailed our team. "Urgent, see me at 2 p.m. At 2, we entered his office. Dean Sloan was already there. So was Chase Holloway. A laptop sat open on the desk. Professor Mercer's face was grim. "Confidential donor contact information was accessed from the Vanguard server last night." My stomach turned. Dean Sloan folded her hands. "The login came from your account, Elliot." Chase looked appropriately concerned. He was good, very good. My phone vibrated. Black Bell had posted before the dean had even finished speaking. "Breaking, Vanguard data leak traced to Omega Scholar student." I stared at the timestamp, then at the dean's laptop, then at Chase. Old me, the analyst who had spent years finding patterns in messy systems, sat upright inside my head. Something was wrong. Not emotionally, mathematically. The Black Bell post had gone live at 1:57 p.m. Dean Sloan had called a Chase according to the visitor sign-in sheet at 1:52. The official incident ticket on Professor Mercer's screen was created at 1:49. But the account post included the phrase, "Trace to Hayes' login." That conclusion was not written in the incident ticket. It had only been spoken inside the room after 2. Unless whoever wrote Black Bell already knew what the meeting would claim. I looked at Chase. He smiled faintly. I smiled back. For the first time since transmigrating, I was not afraid of the plot. The plot had made a data error. And data errors were my natural habitat. I asked Dean Sloan for 24 hours to deliver a preliminary audit. Chase laughed, not loudly, just enough. "Shouldn't the school suspend his access first?" he asked. Dean Sloan looked at him over her glasses. "Mr. Holloway, I have managed federal litigation. I believe I can manage a student login." I loved her. Professor Mercer agreed to freeze the Vanguard files without changing permissions. Logan said nothing until we were outside. Then, what do you need? Not I'll fix it. Progress. My laptop, the access logs. The original screenshots Black Bell posted coffee. Blake lifted a finger. I can do coffee. Logan said he means competent coffee. I withdraw my support. Back in Hawthorne Hall, we worked until midnight. The leak had used Elliot's credentials, but whoever logged in had done it through a campus workstation using an authenticated session that should have expired hours earlier. The access history showed a browser fingerprint and device identifier I did not recognize. That proves it wasn't your laptop, Blake said. Not by itself. Device identifiers can be spoofed, and a stolen session can be replayed. Logan leaned beside me. What about time? I looked at him, then smiled. Exactly. The attacker had downloaded donor records at 11:43 p.m. Sunday. At 11:43, I had been in the Great Hall, helping Professor Mercer recalibrate the project display. 20 people had seen me. That supported my alibi, but it did not clear me. I could have used a phone, scheduled a task, or handed my credentials to someone else. An analyst who treated correlation as proof deserved to be haunted by every bad dashboard he had ever criticized. So I followed the Black Bell timestamps. 43 posts over 6 weeks. Most appeared within 10 minutes of moments when Chase was physically nearby. That was suggestive. Then Blake found something better. Because Carter Media monitored impersonation accounts involving his name, their public relations software had archived several Black Bell pages before edits. One deleted early post contained an uncropped screenshot. In the top right corner was a browser profile icon, a tiny blue shield. Blake stared. I know that icon. So do I said. Chase used the same custom St. Aldwyn Social Council browser profile during meetings. Logan was already opening his phone. I pointed at him. No lawyers. I was going to call Dean Sloan. Oh. He raised one brow. Growth? Disturbing. The final proof came from something embarrassingly stupid. Chase had scheduled posts. Black Bell's content calendar had been synced to the Social Council's public event management tool for less than 4 minutes on Sunday night. 4 minutes was enough for a cached preview. The preview included 3 future Black Bell headlines, including the one accusing me of the data leak. Created 37 minutes before my credentials were used. I sat back. At 9:12 the next morning inside the deadline, I sent Dean Sloan the screenshots, session logs, cached preview, and a note separating proof from inference. She opened a formal investigation and ordered us not to contact Chase, so I had kept my promise. The college had the evidence. What I still wanted was a public answer to a public lie. Blake read the email. Please tell me we still get the giant screen. I thought of the Founders Masquerade 3 days away. The biggest room, the biggest audience, the most medieval-looking hall in America that also had HDMI. I smiled. Actually. Logan looked at me. His thoughts warmed. There he is. 3 nights later, the great hall glowed beneath chandeliers and electric candles. Masks glittered. A quartet played waltzes. Snow began outside. The Vanguard finalists were scheduled to present abbreviated findings to alumni and donors before midnight. Chase arrived in white tie and a gold mask. I wore silver. Blake chose black with no feather after I threatened to leave him outside. Logan wore plain velvet. At 11:40 my phone buzzed. Black Bell posted the accusation from the prologue. The room changed almost instantly. Whispers moved like wind through dry leaves. Dean Sloan approached. Elliot. I know. We need to speak upstairs. Chase appeared at the edge of the crowd, face composed. He had expected me to panic, so I gave him what he wanted. I ran. Not away. Up. To the bell tower, where the Vanguard team had stored the backup presentation equipment after rehearsal. Logan and Blake followed because neither had learned the concept of dramatic personal space. Blake pulled the heavy oak door shut behind us and slid the old brass bolt into place when a knot of curious students started up the stairs. 2 minutes, I told him. By 3, he said. That while we ended up beneath the midnight bell. That was how Logan thought the words I had not been ready to hear. I love him. That was how Dean Sloan opened the door, And that was where the story caught up with itself. "What do you want to do?" Logan asked. I looked from him to Blake, then at the flash drive in my hand. "I want to finish my presentation." Blake smiled. "That's my omega." I pointed at him. Possessive phrasing. Our omega scholar whom I respect independently. Worse. Logan took off his coat. "May I?" I nodded. He settled it over my shoulders. Then we went downstairs. The whispers grew when I entered the great hall. Chase stood near the stage. I walked past him. He murmured, "You could save yourself embarrassment and leave." I stopped. "Chase?" "Yes?" Never frame a data analyst with timestamps. His face emptied. Beautiful. Professor Mercer gave me the podium. I began with our actual Vanguard project: historic preservation, housing models, transit economic trade-offs. I spoke for 7 minutes. Then I changed the slide. A timeline appeared, black bell posts, login events, public photographs, Kalesht previews, nothing illegal, nothing hacked, only records already available to the college, our own accounts, and Blake's archived mentions. "I was accused tonight of accessing donor information," I said. "The college should investigate that fully. I welcome it." The room was silent. But the public accusation was drafted before my account was used. Next slide. The cached preview. A murmur spread through the hall. Dean Sloan's expression sharpened. Chase went pale. I did not humiliate him with insults. I did not need to. Data is wonderfully rude on its own. Blake explained how the archived page had been preserved. Logan explained that his company would cooperate with any independent review and that he would recuse himself from all fellowship decisions involving me. That mattered. He was not rescuing me. He was removing his power from the equation. Finally, Dean Sloan stepped forward. "Mr. Holloway, come with me." Chase tried one last time. "This proves nothing." Dean Sloan looked at the screen. "It proves enough to begin a formal process." Blake's thoughts practically danced. "Goodbye, Discount Prince." I bit my cheek. Chase left with the dean. No one applauded at first. Then Professor Mercer did. Once, twice, the sound spread. Not thunderous, not cinematic. Better, human. I stood beneath the banners while my knees shook. Logan's hand hovered near mine. He waited. I turned my palm upward. He took it. Afterward, the Black Bell account disappeared. The college investigation found Chase responsible for the harassment campaign and unauthorized account access. He lost his social council position and was removed from the Vanguard Fellowship. His punishment was mostly administrative, which, for a man who lived for status, was devastating enough. Blake celebrated by ordering a cake that said, "Congratulations on defeating cyberbullying with Excel." "It was not Excel," I said. "Cake cannot fit multi-source timestamp correlation." Coward. The rumors faded. Life did not become perfect. It became ordinary, which was better. A week later, I found Blake alone in the courtyard feeding the cat I thought no one knew about. He looked at me. "You picked him." It was not a question. I sat beside him. "Yes." Blake nodded. His thoughts hurt. "I knew." Then, "Still sucks." "I'm sorry." He bumped my shoulder. "Don't be. You're allowed to be upset." "I am, elegantly." I smiled. He stared at the cat. "Bennett loves you in a terrifyingly organized way." "That is accurate." "And you look at him differently." "How?" "Like you found a place to put down your bag." My throat tightened. Blake sighed. "I hate being emotionally perceptive. Ruins my brand." I leaned against him briefly. "Thank you." "For losing." "For never making me feel guilty for not choosing you." His thoughts went warm. "Always, idiot." Aloud he said, "Best man writes." "What?" "When you two inevitably become unbearable, I call best man." "You are planning my wedding now." "I am diversifying." Logan found me that night in the cloister. Snow dusted the garden. The campus bells marked 10. He stopped beneath the arch. "May I come closer?" I smiled. "You know, at some point you can stop asking that every time." "No." "Why?" "Because I like hearing you say yes." That was unfair. I stepped toward him. Yes. He touched my face. His thumb moved once along my cheek. Elliot. I know. You do? I hear your thoughts, remember? His expression became resigned. Unfortunately. I laughed. Then I kissed him. This time there was nothing careful about my decision. His arms came around me only after I leaned in. His mouth warmed mine beneath the winter-dark arch. His thoughts were a magnificent disaster. Mine, no, not mine chosen. He chose me. Better, so much better. I pulled back. Say that out loud. His eyes searched mine. You chose me. I did. He exhaled. Then, quietly. And I choose you. Spring made St. Aldwyn softer. Ivy returned to the stone. Windows opened. Students carried laptops into the courtyard beneath trees that had survived another Hudson Valley winter. Logan and I became a couple in the least dramatic way possible. He moved his coffee mug next to mine. I began keeping a charger at his office. He stopped pretending not to like terrible reality television. I stopped pretending I did not sleep better when his hand rested at my waist. We still had rules, especially because I could hear him. The important change was that I stopped letting Logan be the only one who knew how to care. One March evening, he returned from a 14-hour Bennett Development Board meeting with his tie loose and his thoughts reduced to clipped numbers, zoning objections, and one call from his father he did not want to return. I closed my laptop, shoes off. That sounded like an order. I learned from a professional. I heated soup, put his phone face down, and made him eat before answering another email. His thoughts softened. He is taking care of me. The surprise in that sentence hurt. Later we walked through Sleepy Hollow, and Logan admitted that when exhausted he sometimes missed the same highway exit twice because he was too proud to use navigation. You run a real estate company. I am aware. And Interstate 87 defeated you. It was dark. Power looked different from close range. I did not love Logan because he could protect me. I loved him because he trusted me to see the ordinary man underneath, and because he let me take care of that man too. That night, when we reached Hawthorne Hall, Logan fell asleep on the sofa before finishing his tea. I covered him with the blanket he usually placed over me and sat nearby with my laptop balanced on one knee. For once his mind was quiet. No strategy, no restraint, no questions. Just sleep. I realized love could be this small, noticing who was tired first, and choosing to stay until the room felt warm. Sometimes his thoughts were sweet. He fell asleep reading again, put the bookmark in, don't bend the page. Sometimes they were indecent enough that I threw cushions at him. He learned to recognize the look. That was private, he would say. That was criminal. It was a thought. It needs legal representation. He would smile and kiss my forehead. The Vanguard project won second place. I was happier about that than I expected. First place had a genuinely better transit model. I respected data more than destiny. After graduation, I accepted a role with a New York analytics firm rather than joining Bennett Development. Logan offered exactly once. Then when I said no, he said, "Good." I blinked. Good? I want you to have a life that does not depend on mine. So I did, and that strangely made it easier to build one together. 2 years later, Logan asked me to drive north with him. We ended up in Tarrytown at a stone terrace overlooking the Hudson. The evening was gold and blue. He had no crowd, no photographer, no family board. Just Blake hiding badly behind a hedge because apparently best man rights included espionage. Logan took my hands. His thoughts were silent, not because he had nothing to say, because he had rehearsed so much he had frightened his own brain into stillness. I smiled. You're nervous. No. Yes. Liar. He exhaled, then he knelt. I immediately started laughing. His face changed. This is not the response I planned for. I'm sorry, you look so serious. I am proposing marriage. I noticed. From the hedge, Blake hissed, "Let the man finish." Logan closed his eyes. I regret inviting him. You would miss him. I would not. I would. I squeezed his hands. Continue. He looked up at me. When I first loved you, I thought love meant keeping you safe. The humor left me. Then you taught me that safety without freedom is just a prettier cage. The Hudson moved behind him in long bands of evening light. So I don't want to keep you. His voice softened. I want to walk with you, for as long as you'll have me. He opened the ring box. Elliot Hayes, will you marry me? His thoughts finally broke through. Please. I went down on my knees in front of him instead of making him wait. Yes. Logan kissed me while Blake shouted something triumphant from the hedge. We married the following autumn at Tarrytown House Estate. The trees burned red and gold. Blake stood beside Logan as best man and cried while denying it. Professor Mercer attended. Dean Sloan attended. The Hawthorne Hall cat did not, despite Blake's campaign. When Logan took my hands beneath an old stone arch, his alpha scent was cedar and autumn air. My omega scent I had long since accepted was still vanilla and rain. He said his vows aloud. I heard the ones underneath. Not dirtier, not darker, simply his. Thank you for choosing me. I smiled, and thought for the 1000th time how strange it was that I had once believed hearing a man's private thoughts would tell me everything about him. It did not. What told me who Logan was had always been the space between thought and action. The pause, the question, the choice. When the officiant told us to kiss, Logan leaned close. May I? The guests laughed. I pulled him down by his tie. Yes. Extra story, married life with better coffee. 3 years into marriage, Logan still asked before stealing my blanket. This was misleading because he stole it anyway. You are an alpha CEO, I told him one rainy Sunday morning in our apartment overlooking the Hudson. Buy another blanket. I did. Where is it? You took it. I looked down. There were in fact 2 blankets on me. I chose dignity. This conversation is over. Logan turned a page of the newspaper. His thoughts said, he looks ridiculous. I kicked his ankle. That was private. So was the expression on your face. At home, he forgot where he left his phone while holding it. Blake visited too often. He claimed best man privileges had no expiration date. That afternoon, he arrived carrying pastries and no invitation. Your security is terrible, he announced. You have the door code, Logan said. Exactly. Blake was happily dating a beta architect from Brooklyn named Owen Brooks, which had improved his personality by approximately 6%. We ate pastries at the kitchen island while rain blurred the windows. At one point, Blake watched Logan cut a piece of cake and said, You know, I genuinely cannot believe Elliot chose you. Logan handed me the larger slice. I can. His thoughts added, Still amazed every day. I went quiet. Logan noticed immediately. What? Nothing. You heard something. Maybe. Blake groaned. 3 years and this is still unfair. Later, after Blake left and evening settled over the river, Logan and I stood on the balcony under one umbrella. The river shimmered below us. He wrapped one arm around my waist. May I? He murmured. You are already doing it. I can stop. I leaned back into him. Don't. His chin rested lightly against my hair. For a while there was only rain. Then his private voice drifted into my mind. I used to think forever meant holding on tightly enough that nothing could leave. I turned in his arms, his gray eyes softened. Now I think it means being chosen again tomorrow, too. I touched his cheek. You know I can hear you. I know. Was that thought intentionally romantic? Possibly. Manipulative. Effective? I kissed him. Unfortunately. He smiled against my mouth. There were no cages, no grand battles, no destiny demanding anything from us. Only coffee in the morning, shared umbrellas, arguments about blankets, friends who refused to knock, and a man who still asked before pulling me closer. For me, that was more than a happy ending. It was a happy life. And if you stayed with Elliot and Logan all the way from that first impossible morning to this quiet, rain-soft ending, thank you for spending the time with them. If this kind of boy love story makes your day a little warmer, you can follow the channel and come back for the next one. Until then, I hope your own life gives you more choices than cages, and someone who is happy to choose you again tomorrow.